To my mind, what really sets TMA apart from the others, one comes to mind first, which is the place. It has been the home of indigenous Sonoran Desert people for thousands of years. 5 buildings on the National Register of Historic Places. It's a convergence of art, culture, history, and heritage.
Any night that you're celebrated and invited into a space that you already hold sacred in the land that you live, it's really important.
What an opportunity. And there's nothing more gratifying to me than to see these wonderful little young faces coming in and seeing things and experience for the first time to connect with these communities that were here historically. You know, this is where we came from.
Tucson is an interesting city. We have all of the oldest institutions here. I think that what makes this community so particularly exciting are the cultural activities.
William Wild, whose firm I was part of, had designed a really nice museum building, as he said he would. Then, as we finished the working drawings, ready to go out to bid for construction, we made a final presentation to the board, and it turned out that day, the board had learned that the west wing of the Cordova House was the oldest standing structure in Tucson.
All the years that I spent being the curator of the historic houses to turn buildings that surround this block into something useful for the museum, to find out their stories, the stories of each of the buildings over these years. So the Fish House, which was going to be the Western Museum, and the Hiram Stevens House was going to be a restaurant that would serve lunch so that the patrons had a place to go for lunch. And the Corbett House was going to be a period museum, and the Leonardo Romero House was already the center for the crafts and ceramics, and it was going to be preserved. And with the Plaza, the Pioneers, and all of that coming together, creating a whole block of interesting places to visit besides just the gallery.
My hopes for TMA are that it becomes more of a home to anybody and everybody in Tucson. TMA, since I've been involved, has made great strides in inclusivity and making sure that the community has a place here. And I feel like, you know, the more efforts that go towards that, the better it will be for a whole community. Because at Owlin Panther, we feel like this is a home for us, and I want the rest of the community to feel that way too.
Our arts education programming is unique. We reach out to people of all ages. We have studio space here, and we're teaching throughout the museum with our wonderful docent group. We have over 100 community partners that we work with throughout the year, and it has made a huge difference in people's lives.
The original mission from 1900 forward remains in place today. And to me, this is the most significant part of this institution, is outreach, community outreach and education for the community at large.
I tried to find a place where I could study photography, and the only place in all of Tucson was the Tucson Museum School. And that's where John Schaefer was and Linda McCartney. So it was wonderful, but just always loved learning.
We have the opportunity to work with a diverse group of people. One of our favorite programs here is a collaboration we do with the Alzheimer's Association of America, and our program is called the Art of Memory, where folks with Alzheimer's and dementia-related illness do a gallery visit, and then we also have a hands-on art activity, and the people are really excellent and sweet. We also do work with the Blind Veterans of America once a quarter, and that's really fun because we get to put on some gloves and get to touch some of the sculptures and really have an excellent experience and hear their stories and what they think of the art, and it's a different perspective. We do so much for the community, and we're always thinking about what more we can do and what more we can provide.
I think there's incredible power in not only providing opportunities for youth and for families who maybe wouldn't have access to it or just would never consider it or think about it, to just broaden horizons and just provide an opportunity to see something new.
I love being around art, and I love talking about art. I love looking at art. And when you can engage with visitors and you're talking about looking at art, that really does become rewarding. I love being in the museum. I come in here and it makes me smile. I think my life is enriched by having all this beauty around it.
Owl and Panther is an organization, a nonprofit organization that serves refugee families. We offer healing-centered engagement in expressive arts, community outreach, and education. In the beginning of this relationship, it was 10 to 12 weeks every semester for us at Owl and Panther. We served during the spring and fall semesters, and we were here almost every week. After the grant funding, we all mutually decided that it was a really good relationship to keep going. We've kept this relationship going for more than 13 years now.
I've been working with TMA for over a decade, bringing my students in to see the works, to collaborate with the staff and artists nationally and locally here, and develop a relationship to continually empower students. One of my favorite memories was a workshop that they did with Patrick Martinez. So when they got to meet Patrick and work with him and see his work and be in his presence, it was really impactful for them. It really helped them see a broader view of what futures could be for Black and Brown children. To see yourself in the work and to see your history in the work is huge. It's reaffirming, it can build pride, it can ground you in the land that you live.
Art occupies a special place in the world where it can be at the very heart of what is happening societally, or it can be around the fringes explaining it. And sometimes we study art as like art history as something that happened in the past, and this explained this thing that happened then. But the truth is, it's happening in real time all around us.
We have a fabulous collection, but what really sets it apart is what we do with it. So we animate our collection. Our curators create conversations and dialogue within the spaces.
Every time there's a new show up, as a docent, it's my responsibility to learn about it. Every time a show closes, I get sad because I lose some of my favorite pieces.
I love the association with the people. I'm a security officer, but I'm not mean. And you do, of course, keep an eye on the art, but I love answering questions that they may have about the art.
I always think about my experience as a child growing up and being kind of cut off from art until I was in high school and was in the museum. So I always do my best to bring whatever I can for the kids so that they have artwork alive and well in their curriculum.
Every community needs strong cultural entities. It enriches your life so thoroughly.
I've been around before it was the Tucson Museum of Art, when it was the Art Center. So 1973 until I retired, obviously I can't go away. I think the reason I stayed all these years, I always thought of the potential of the museum as the cultural center for Tucson.
So it's really a lifetime of enrichment and being on the board with wonderful people and watching this museum grow is just, there's nothing that can make me happier. So it's all about a lot of joy in my life.
I feel like I'm one of the owners of the museum, like anybody else in town. You know, it's a community museum. Yes.
But it's important for artists to open their mouths up and speak.
It is just wonderful to be with people that you really enjoy being with.
When you work alongside someone, that's when you really form bonds.
I've made so many good friends here. The museum was the first place that my husband and I joined when we moved to Tucson. And I think that that's why the support groups are so critical, because there are groups of people working together toward a common goal. I'm very proud of what we've all been able to do here.